The space station Harmony orbited Earth like a silver ring in the blackness of space. Kelly Nelson gazed out the window of her small quarters. The blue planet below never failed to steal her breath, even after 3 years as Chief Communications Officer. A soft chime from her console pulled her attention away from the view. Incoming transmission from unknown origin. The computer announced, its feminine voice calm and measured. Kelly straightened her uniform and tapped the acceptance key. This is Communications Officer Kelly Nelson of Earth Space Station Harmony. Please identify. The screen remained black, but a voice unlike any Kelly had heard before filled the room. It was melodic, almost like singing, but with strange harmonics that made the hairs on her arms stand up. We are the Lurali. We come in peace. We request permission to approach your world. Kelly felt her heart rate spike. First contact. The protocols for this were clear, but actually implementing them was another matter. Please, hold position while I contact Earth Command, she responded, keeping her voice steady, despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Station Commander Allison Reed arrived within minutes, her normally composed face showing rare excitement. Have they sent visual, she asked, sliding into the seat beside Kelly. No, Mom, voice only. Kelly replied. They call themselves the Lurali. Allison nodded and pressed the transmission button. This is Commander Allison Reed of Earth Space Station Harmony. We welcome peaceful contact. Our protocols request that you maintain position at minimum lunar distance until communications are established. The musical voice responded immediately. We understand your caution. Commander Reed, we will hold position as requested. We come seeking alliance, not conquest. Our world faces extinction and we believe humans may be compatible allies. Kelly exchanged glances with Allison. Both women recognized the gravity of the moment. Send word to Earth Command. Allison ordered request. Immediate assembly of the first contact team. And Kelly, keep this channel open. Over the next 48 hours, Earth erupted into organized chaos. The United Earth government assembled their top diplomats, scientists, and military officials. A small delegation would travel to Station Harmony to establish initial contact. Dr. Susan Wright, chief xenobiologist, arrived first, her eyes bright with academic excitement as she cornered Kelly in the mess hall. Have they sent any biological data, she asked. Without preamble, physical descriptions, medical information, anything. Kelly shook her head. Only voice communication. Their ship remains just beyond lunar orbit as requested. It's unlike any design we've seen before. Almost organic looking. Laura Chenhead, of Earth Security, arrived next, bringing a team of analysts and security specialists. Her expression was considerably more guarded than Susan's. We need to prepare for all possibilities, she said during the first briefing. These aliens claim to need our help, but that could be a pretext. They could be scouts for an invasion force. Allison nodded. We maintain cautious optimism, but full security protocols. 3 days after initial contact, the Lurali ship requested permission to send a single representative to Station Harmony. After lengthy debate, Earth Command agreed. Kelly stood beside Allison in the station's main docking bay, her stomach fluttering with nervous anticipation. The specialized airlock designed for potentially incompatible atmospheres hissed as it cycled. The inner door slid open. A tall figure stepped through and Kelly forgot to breathe. The alien was unmistakably female, but with features that seemed both familiar and utterly foreign at once. Her skin was a pale lavender color that shimmered slightly in the station's lights. Her face was humanoid with high cheekbones and large eyes that were entirely silver, with no visible pupils or irises. Her hair, if it could be called that, consisted of something between feathers and fur, in a deeper purple shade flowing down her back. She wore what appeared to be a form-fitting bodysuit that rippled with colors that shifted as she moved. I am Alara, first emissary of the Lurali, she said, her voice creating the same musical resonance they had heard over the communication system. We thank you for your welcome. Commander Reed stepped forward. I am Commander Allison Reed. This is our communications officer, Kelly Nelson, and our chief science officer, Dr. Susan Wright. Alara bowed slightly, her movements fluid and graceful. I bring greetings from the matriarchy of Lurali. We have traveled far seeking compatible species. Dr. Wright couldn't contain herself. Compatible in what way exactly? Ilara's silver eyes seemed to shimmer. Our world dies. Our sun grows unstable. We have searched the stars for a new home, but our biology makes coexistence difficult with most species. Humans, however, show remarkable compatibility. Potential. Laura Chen stepped forward, her hand resting not so subtly near her sidearm. What kind of compatibility? Ilara's gaze shifted to Laura. The emissary showed no concern at the implied threat. We require specific atmospheric conditions and biospheres not found on many worlds, she explained. Your Earth is perfect, but we do not wish to displace you. We propose coexistence, mutual benefit. Our technology. For shared resources, Commander Reed nodded diplomatically. We appreciate your directness, Emissary Ilara. These discussions will require time and careful consideration. Of course, Ilara agreed. We understand caution. Our history also contains mistakes born of haste. Kelly found herself unable to look away from the alien visitor. There was something mesmerizing about her movements, her voice. Perhaps it was simply the enormity of what was happening. First contact with an intelligent alien species, one that appeared peaceful and in need. As the formal introductions concluded, Kelly was assigned as Ilara's guide and liaison. The communications officer would be responsible for helping the emissary understand human customs and protocol, while the diplomats and scientists prepared for formal negotiations. Have you traveled far to reach us? Kelly asked as she led Ilara toward the guest quarters. Prepared for her. Very far, the alien replied. By your measurements, nearly 80 light years. Our journey took 12 of your years, even with our fold technology. Kelly tried to imagine being away from home for 12 years, on a desperate mission to save her species, the Lurali. Must be very brave, she said. Ilara stopped walking, turning those silver eyes fully on Kelly. We are survivors, she said simply. But we are also hopeful. Your world is the first we have found with both biological compatibility and intelligent life. It seems like destiny. As they reached the guest quarters, Kelly showed Ilara how to use the human interfaces. The alien learned quickly, demonstrating an intelligence that impressed Kelly. Tomorrow you'll meet with the full diplomatic team, Kelly explained. But for now you should rest. Ilara tilted her head in what Kelly was beginning to recognize as a gesture of consideration. Among my people, she said, it is customary to share a meal when new alliances form. Would this be acceptable? Kelly smiled. Actually, we have that custom too. You'll have food brought here for both of us if you'd like. For the first time, Ilara smiled, revealing teeth that were pearlescent and slightly pointed like a cat's. The effect was both beautiful and slightly unnerving. I would be honored, Kelly Nelson. She said. What Kelly didn't know as she arranged for the meal was that this simple act of shared food would be the first step in a relationship that would eventually change the course of both their species, and that the Lurali had not told the complete truth about their situation or their intentions toward Earth. Kelly found herself spending most of her time with Ilara over the next week. As the official liaison, she was responsible for answering the aliens' questions about human culture and helping facilitate meetings with various experts. What Kelly hadn't expected was how much she would enjoy the aliens' company. Your species has so much art, Ilara remarked as Kelly showed her digital archives of human creative works, music, painting, literature. The variety is overwhelming. The Lurali don't have art. Kelly asked, surprised. We have ritual songs and ceremonial designs, Ilara explained. But not this endless creativity. Your species seems driven to express itself in countless ways. Kelly smiled. It's one of our better qualities. As days passed, the diplomatic talks progressed. The Lurali requested permission to establish a small colony in Earth's northern regions, where the climate apparently matched their homeworld. They offered advanced technology in exchange, particularly medical and energy innovations, that would benefit humanity. Most of the human delegation seemed cautiously optimistic, but Laura Chen remained suspicious. They arrived with one ship but speak of colonization. She pointed out during a private meeting with Commander Reed Kelly and several other senior staff. Where's the rest of their population? According to Ilara, their people remain in stasis orbiting a star. 12 light-years away, Dr. Wright replied. They sent one emissary to establish contact before bringing their full population. Laura shook her head. They conveniently need exactly what we have and offer exactly what would tempt us most. Advanced technology. It's textbook infiltration strategy, Commander Reed sighed. We can't dismiss their claims without evidence, but we also can't ignore legitimate security concerns. Kelly, you've spent the most time with Ilara. Have you noticed anything suspicious? Kelly hesitated. She didn't want to betray Ilara's trust, but she also had a duty to humanity. There are some inconsistencies in her explanations about Lurali culture, she admitted. Sometimes she seemed surprised by her own responses, as if following a script. That night, Kelly couldn't sleep. Her conversation with the security team left her feeling conflicted. She genuinely liked Ilara, but what if the alien was manipulating her? What if Earth was in danger? A soft chime from her door interrupted her thoughts. Ilara stood in the hallway, her silver eyes reflecting the dim night lighting. May I enter? She asked, her musical voice subdued. We must speak? Privately. Kelly hesitated, then stepped aside, allowing the alien into her quarters. You have questions, she said simply. I can sense your distrust. Kelly crossed her arms. I have a responsibility to my people. Ilara nodded, her feather-like hair rippling with the movement, as do I to mine, but I have not been entirely truthful and it weighs on me. Kelly's heart raced. What exactly haven't you told us? Ilara moved to the window, gazing out at Earth below. The Lurali are indeed dying, but not because our sun is unstable, she said softly. Our genetics have become our downfall. She turned to face Kelly. Our species reproduces asexually through genetic splitting, but after thousands of generations, this has led to degradation. Our scientists predict extinction within 3 generations. How does Earth help with that? Kelly asked, still wary. Ilara took a deep breath. We discovered that human genetic material is remarkably compatible with ours. A merger would create hybrid offspring with the best qualities of both species and eliminate the degradation. Kelly stepped back. You want to breed with humans. Not in the way you're thinking, Ilara clarified quickly. Genetic material only, combined in laboratories. No physical mating required. The offspring would be raised by volunteer Lurali as a new subspecies, a bridge between our worlds. But why not just tell us this from the beginning? Kelly demanded. Would your people have agreed to meet with us? If we had, Ilara asked. The history of your fiction suggests humans fear genetic manipulation or hybridization with aliens. We needed you to know us first, to see that we are not monsters. Kelly sank into a chair, her mind racing. She could report this conversation immediately. Ilara would likely be confined, perhaps the entire diplomatic process would collapse. Yet something made her hesitate. The desperation in Ilara's voice seemed genuine. The Lurali weren't asking to conquer. They were asking for salvation. How many Lurali remain? She asked finally. Fewer than 10,000, Ilara replied. Once we numbered in millions, Kelly studied the alien, trying to see past her exotic features to the person beneath, and if we refuse, we continue searching. Ilara said, though her voice carried little hope. But time grows short for my people. Kelly made a decision that would later be scrutinized by historians for centuries. I'll help you present this honestly to our leaders, she said. But no more secrets. Everything must be transparent going forward. Ilara reached out, hesitantly placing her hand over Kelly's. Her skin felt warm, slightly textured like fine suede. Among my people, she said, a promise between 2 individuals carries the weight of sacred law. I swear to you, Kelly Nelson, that I will share all truths from this moment forward. The next morning, Kelly arranged an emergency meeting with Commander Reed, Dr. Wright, and the core diplomatic team. She let Ilara explain the true situation, watching the reactions shift from shock to concern to cautious consideration. Genetic hybridization, Dr. Wright mused after Ilara finished explaining. fascinating from a scientific perspective. But the ethical implications are complex. It would be entirely voluntary on the human side. Ilara assured them, "We require only a few hundred donors to ensure sufficient genetic diversity." Laura Chen, who had been silently listening, finally spoke. "Why should we trust you now after this deception?" Ilara turned to her. "I deceived you about our purpose, but not about our desperation or our peaceful intentions. Had I explained immediately, you would have turned us away. Fear is the natural first response to the unknown, Commander." Reed looked thoughtful. "What guarantee do we have that these hybrids won't eventually replace humans? That this isn't a long-term invasion strategy?" Kelly spoke up, surprising herself, "I believe." "Ilara is sincere, Commander." All eyes turned to her and she continued. "The Lurali could have arrived with weapons. Instead, they came with technology to share. They could have abducted humans for this genetic material. Instead, they ask permission. They need us, and they've been honest about their vulnerability." Over the following weeks, intense debates raged across Earth governments. Some saw opportunity in alliance with an advanced species, others feared extinction through gradual replacement. Religious groups questioned the morality, while scientists salivated at the technological possibilities. Through it all, Kelly remained Ilara's closest human contact. The two women spent hours discussing their respective cultures, finding surprising similarities despite their different origins. "I didn't expect to find a friend here," Ilara confessed one evening as they shared a meal in the station's observation lounge. "Our scientists said humans were biologically compatible. They never mentioned spiritual compatibility." Kelly smiled. "I'm not sure what you mean by spiritual." Ilara gestured between them. "This connection, understanding despite differences. On my world, we call it soul weaving. The recognition of kindred spirits across boundaries." Kelly felt something warm bloom in her chest. "Soul weaving, I like that." When Earth finally rendered its decision, it was a cautious yes to genetic collaboration under strict controls and oversight. The agreement specified that all hybridization would be voluntary, with full transparency. The Lurali would share their technology, particularly medical advances that could benefit humanity. The day before Ilara would return to her ship to inform her people of the agreement, she came to Kelly's quarters one last time. "Our people will remember you," she said. "Your compassion saved my species." Kelly shook her head. "It wasn't just me. Lots of people made this happen." Ilara took Kelly's hands in hers. "Among the Lurali, there is a position of great honor. The first bridge, one who connects different worlds. I would name you this if you permit it." Kelly felt tears prick her eyes. This whole experience still seemed surreal. "Sometimes I can't believe any of this is happening," she admitted. Ilara smiled, her alien features now familiar and dear to Kelly. "Reality often exceeds imagination," she said. "That is something our species share." What neither woman could know in that moment was how their friendship would shape the future of both species, or that the challenges they had overcome were only the beginning of a much longer and more complex journey together. 3 years passed since the historic agreement between humans and the Lurali. The northern territory, now called New Luralia, housed 5,000 aliens, with more arriving each year as stasis pods made the long journey from their dying homeworld. Kelly had been promoted to Director of Interspecies Communications, a position created specifically for the growing relationship between the two species. She now split her time between Earth and New Luralia. The genetic hybridization program had begun, with 300 human volunteers donating genetic material. The first generation of hybrids were developing in specialized growth chambers, under the watchful eyes of both human and Lurali scientists. Kelly stood beside Ilara, now appointed High Emissary of Lurali Earth Relations, as they toured the primary growth facility. "They look so peaceful," Kelly whispered, gazing at the small forms floating in nutrient-rich fluids. Some appeared more human, with lavender skin tones, others more Lurali, but with recognizably human features. "They dream already." Ilara explained. Her silver eyes had grown familiar to Kelly over the years. No longer alien, but simply Ilara. Their brains develop faster than either parent species. The scientists believe they may possess enhanced cognitive abilities. Kelly studied the nearest chamber where a female hybrid child floated, her small hands occasionally twitching. Have the matriarchs decided on naming conventions yet? Alara nodded. The first generation will carry dual names, one from each culture to honor both lineages. This one, she said, pointing to the child Kelly had been watching, will be named Lyra Hope. The first name from our constellation myths, the second for what she represents to both our peoples, Kelly, smiled Lyra Hope. I like that. Not everyone shared their optimism. Despite the economic benefits the Lurali technology had brought, a growing movement of human purists had begun protesting the hybridization program. Some claimed it was the beginning of human extinction, others cited religious objections. Dr. Victoria Grant, now head of the hybrid development program, joined them, her tablet displaying vital statistics. The children are developing perfectly. She reported all genetic markers indicate stable integration. The neural development is particularly fascinating. Will they be more Lurali or human in their thinking? Kelly asked. Victoria shrugged. Neither and both. Their brains show structures unique to hybrids. They may perceive reality differently than either parent species. Alara placed her hand against one of the chambers, her expression contemplative. They will be the bridge generation, she said. Not human, not Lurali, but the first of something new. As they left the facility, Kelly noticed increased security measures. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter and identity scanners had been installed at every doorway. Have there been more threats? She asked quietly. Alara nodded, her expression troubled. 3 attempts to breach the facility perimeter last month, and the messages grow more violent. Kelly felt a surge of protectiveness toward the developing children. They were innocent, created with hope for the future of both species. That evening, Kelly and Alara shared a meal in Alara's residence, a beautiful structure that blended Lurali organic architecture with human design elements. Their friendship had deepened over the years, evolving into something neither had words to properly describe. Soul-weaving, as the Lurali called it. Have you reconsidered my offer? Alara asked as they finished eating. Kelly sighed. The matriarchs had extended an unprecedented invitation for Kelly to become a genetic donor for the next phase of hybridization. It was considered the highest honor in Lurali culture. I'm still thinking about it, she replied. It's a big decision to potentially have a child, even one created in a lab. Alara nodded, respecting her hesitation. Among my people, she said, creating new life is the most sacred act. We believe each child carries the soul essence of their genetic contributors. This is why we ask only those we deeply respect. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication. From Earth, Command Director Nelson, Alara's residence has been targeted. Satellite detected. Incoming projectiles. Estimated impact 3 minutes. Alara's security team burst into the room. We must evacuate immediately. High Emissary. Kelly felt Alara grab her hand, pulling her toward a concealed panel in the wall which slid open to reveal a narrow passage. This leads to the emergency bunker, Alara explained as they hurried through the dimly lit corridor. Above them, they heard the distinctive whine of defense systems activating. They reached the bunker along with several other Lurali officials. The heavy doors sealed behind them. Just as the first explosions rocked the compound, through monitors they watched as Lurali defense technology intercepted most of the incoming missiles. But one broke through, striking the south wing of the residence. The structure, which would have collapsed if built with human methods, instead absorbed and redistributed the impact. The organic building materials flexing, rather than shattering. Earth Command confirms attack originated from purist extremist cell. Called Humanity First. Commander Allison Reed reported via secure channel. Initial casualty reports indicate 3 security personnel injured. No fatalities. Security forces are in pursuit of suspects. Kelly felt a cold anger building inside her. How could anyone target innocent people this way? The purists grow bolder, Alara said, her usual melodic voice tight with tension. This is the first direct attack on leadership. Kelly squeezed her hand. We won't let them win. fear has always fought against progress. Over the following days, security tightened across all Lurali facilities. Kelly found herself under constant protection-assigned bodyguards who followed her everywhere. The attack had elevated the stakes, making it clear that the alliance between humans and Lurali faced dangerous opposition. 1 week after the attack, Kelly stood before the United Earth Council. The chamber was packed with representatives from all regions, while billions watched the broadcast worldwide. I stand before you not just as Director of Interspecies Communications, but as someone who has witnessed firsthand the good faith of the Lurali. She began. The recent attacks against peaceful visitors to our world shame us all. The Lurali came seeking salvation and offering friendship. What does it say about humanity if our answer is hatred and violence? The chamber remained silent as Kelly continued her impassioned defense of the alliance. She spoke of the medical advances already implemented because of Lurali technology. Diseases once thought incurable, now treatable. The clean energy systems that had reduced pollution by 60% in major cities. The scientific discoveries made possible through collaboration. I have made my decision, she announced. I will participate in the next phase of the hybridization program. Not because I seek honor, but because I believe in the future we are building together. A future where differences strengthen rather than divide us. The announcement sent shockwaves through human society. Some condemned her decision while others praised her courage. Most importantly, it forced people to confront their fears about the changing relationship between the species. That night alone in her quarters, Kelly wondered if she had made the right choice. Her decision would forever tie her to the future of both species. To a child she would never raise, but whose existence would carry part of her forward. A soft chime indicated an incoming call from Alara. Your speech was broadcast throughout New Luralia. The alien said, her silver eyes shimmering with emotion. Our people are deeply moved by your commitment. The matriarchs have bestowed upon you the title of Talira, one who bridges worlds. It is the highest honor in our culture. Kelly smiled, feeling suddenly at peace with her decision. We are creating something unique in the universe, aren't we? Lara nodded. Two species choosing to evolve together rather than compete. It has never been done before. As they talked, late into the night discussing the implications of recent events, neither could know that across the stars, another species watched with growing concern as humans and Lurali grew closer. A species that had carefully maintained the balance of power in this sector of the galaxy. By ensuring no alliances grew too strong, the Vrlar High Command had already dispatched observers. Their analysis would determine whether this new alliance required intervention. For the first time in millennia, the Vrlar contemplated direct action against an emerging power. The humans and Lurali working together presented an unpredictable variable in their carefully controlled galaxy. The true test of both species was approaching faster than anyone suspected. 5 years after Kelly's historic decision, the first generation of hybrids had reached physical development equivalent to human 10-year-olds, though their cognitive abilities far exceeded both parent species. 26 children now lived in a specialized educational compound learning both human and Lurali culture, history, and science. Kelly visited the compound monthly, feeling a special connection to Lyra Hope, the first hybrid child she'd seen in development. Though not genetically Kelly's daughter, the girl had formed an attachment to the human diplomat, calling her honored mother in the Lurali tradition. Lyra sat cross-legged in the compound's garden, her lavender skin glowing softly in the sunlight. Her hair, a cascade of feathery strands, shifted between deep purple and midnight blue depending on her mood. Today it shimmered with excited energy as Kelly approached. Honored mother, she called, rising gracefully. The others are coming. Kelly smiled as 5 more hybrid children emerged from the learning center. Their movements had a fluid quality that seemed neither human nor Lurali, but something uniquely their own. Their eyes varied, some silver, like pure Lurali, others with visible irises in vibrant colors. Each child greeted Kelly with formal Lurali gestures followed by very human hugs, a blending of cultures that had become natural to them. We learned about ancient Earth today. Lyra explained, her voice carrying subtle harmonics that made her words almost musical. ancient Greece, and the concept of democracy. It seems humans have always sought balance between individual and community needs. Kelly nodded, impressed as always by the children's depth of understanding. Your own governance will need to develop its own unique system. Someday Lyra tilted her head in the characteristic Lurali gesture of contemplation. We discuss this often. She admitted, we are neither hierarchical like humans, nor collective like Lurali. We think perhaps something new is needed before Kelly could respond. Her communication device chimed with an urgent priority signal from Earth Command Director Nelson. Please report to Central Command immediately. Unidentified vessels have entered the solar system. Kelly felt her blood run cold. In 10 years of space exploration, humanity had encountered only the Lurali. This was something new. I must go, she told the children. Remain in the compound until further notice. Lyra caught her hand, her silver eyes wide with concern. They come from beyond the rim, she whispered. The Watchers have arrived. Kelly stared at her. How do you know that? Lyra seemed confused by her own words. I don't know. I just saw it when you received your message. Kelly made a mental note to discuss this with Dr. Grant. The hybrid children's abilities were still being documented, and occasionally new talents emerged unexpectedly. At Central Command, Kelly found Commander Reed, now Admiral, and Alara huddled over holographic displays, showing 7 massive vessels in formation just beyond Mars orbit. They appeared 3 hours ago, Admiral Reed explained. No response to communications. Their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Even the Lurali are unfamiliar with the design. Alara looked troubled. The configuration suggests a hierarchical species. Weapon ports indicate significant offensive capability. As they watched, the largest vessel changed course, moving toward Earth, while the others maintained position. Incoming transmission. Admiral Reed announced. The view screen activated, showing a humanoid figure with metallic gray skin and multiple eyes arranged in a vertical line down the center of its face. When it spoke, its voice was flat and mechanical, translated by the computer. We are the Vreelar Oversight Collective. This sector falls under our protectorate. We have observed the unauthorized alliance between humans and Lurali. Such mergers violate stability protocols. You will cease hybridization immediately and segregate your species. Admiral Reed stepped forward. This is Admiral Allison Reed of Earth. We acknowledge your presence but not your authority. The alliance between our species is peaceful and beneficial to both parties. We have no hostile intentions toward others. The Vreelar representative blinked its multiple eyes. In sequence, relations between species must be regulated. Uncontrolled alliances lead to power imbalances. History proves this. The Lurali were scheduled for natural extinction. Human interference disrupts the evolutionary order. Kelly felt rage building inside her. Who gave you the right to decide which species lives or dies? We maintain order, came the emotionless reply. We have done so for 12,000 years. Your species were deemed too primitive for contact until now. Your rapid advancement necessitates intervention. Alara moved forward. Her normally gentle demeanor hardened. The Lurali reject your claim of authority. We choose our own path now, as we have since escaping your influence centuries ago. The Vreelar seemed to focus on Alara, the escaped colony. Your ancestors fled rather than accept the natural end of your evolutionary cycle. Now we understand the connection. Admiral Reed cut the transmission, looking grim. We need options, people. Their technology appears significantly advanced. Alara turned to Kelly and the Admiral. The Vreelar are ancient manipulators, she explained with surprising bitterness. They observe developing worlds, allowing contact only under strict conditions. They believe controlled competition between species maintains stability and prevents any single power from dominating. Our ancestors never told us of their existence. I suspect memories were deliberately erased to protect us. Kelly processed this revelation. So the Lurali coming to Earth wasn't random. You were fleeing them. Alara shook her head. Not consciously. Our recorded history begins with our dying world. Anything before that is lost. But it seems our ancestors may have escaped Vreelar control. They spent the next hours in emergency meetings. With Earth leadership and Lorali matriarch's military options were considered but even combined human, and Lorali technology appeared insufficient against the advanced Vrylar vessels. In the midst of these tense discussions, Kelly received an unexpected request. The hybrid children wished to address the Leadership Council. Council members exchanged skeptical glances, but Kelly advocated for them. These children represent the future we are fighting for. Their perspective deserves consideration. Lyra entered the chamber accompanied by 5 other hybrids. Their presence commanded attention. Despite their youth, we have been communicating telepathically with all 26 of our kind. Lyra explained, her young voice steady. We believe we understand the Vrylar and can offer a solution. The Vrylar fear unpredictability. One of the other children continued. Their entire civilization is built on control and order. They see our existence as chaotic because we represent something they cannot predict or categorize. Lyra stepped forward. Our hybrid minds function differently than either parent species. We can process information in ways neither humans nor Lorali can individually. We believe this gives us an advantage. Kelly leaned forward. What are you suggesting? We request permission to communicate directly with the Vrylar. Lyra said, our hybrid consciousness may be able to interface with their group mind in ways pure humans or Lorali cannot. We believe we can make them understand that diversity strengthens rather than threatens. The council erupted in protests. The children were too valuable to risk. The Vrylar might harm them. The plan seemed desperate and dangerous. Admiral Reed raised her hand for silence. It's their future at stake as much as ours, she pointed out, and we have few alternatives. Eventually the council agreed, but with conditions. The communication would happen from the safety of Earth. Any sign of danger, and the link would be severed. That evening, Kelly sat with Lyra helping the child prepare for what would be humanity's most important diplomatic encounter. Are you afraid? She asked the girl. Lyra considered the question. We do not fear the unknown in the way pure humans do, she explained. We see possibilities where others see threats. The Vrylar have never encountered beings like us. We are the unknown variable in their equations. Kelly felt a surge of pride mixed with worry. These children carried the best qualities of both species, intellect and intuition. Empathy and logic blended in ways that created something truly new. The next morning, the hybrid children gathered in a circle in the communication center. Kelly stood with Alara and Admiral Reed watching as technicians established a direct link to the Vrylar. Command vessel, we are prepared. Lyra announced, her voice perfectly calm. When the connection activated, something unexpected happened. Instead of speaking, the children began humming in perfect harmony, creating complex overlapping tones. Their eyes closed, in concentration as they linked minds. The Vrylar representative appeared on screen, its multiple eyes widening in what appeared to be shock as the harmonic communication reached them. For nearly an hour, no words were exchanged, only the strange melodic sounds from the children and occasional clicking responses from the Vrylar. The adults watched helplessly, unable to understand what was transpiring. Finally, Lyra opened her eyes. They understand now, she said simply. The Vrylar representative blinked. Rapidly, we have miscalculated, it stated. The hybrid consciousness is unlike any pattern we have catalogued in 12,000 years of observation. We require time to process this anomaly. We will withdraw to neutral space while reassessment occurs, and transmission ended and monitors showed the Vrylar vessels retreating from Earth orbit. What did you show them? Kelly asked in amazement. Lyra smiled, a gesture that blended human warmth with Lorali serenity. We showed them all possibilities, she explained. All futures where cooperation creates strength that competition cannot. Every pathway where diversity leads to innovations impossible in isolation. We opened our minds. 10 years had passed since the Vrylar encounter. The hybrid children now physically resembled young adults. Though they had reached intellectual maturity years earlier, 50 more hybrids had been born in the decades since, creating a small but thriving Community Kelly now served as Earth Ambassador to the newly formed Interspecies Council, a governing body representing humans, Lurali and hybrids who had chosen the name Lumari for their new species. Her quarters in the council tower overlooked both human and Lurali districts of New Geneva, the diplomatic capital built specifically to house the growing multi-species community. Kelly had aged gracefully now in her 50s, with silver streaks in her dark hair and laugh lines around her eyes. She wore the formal diplomatic uniform of earth black with silver trim, but had adopted the Lurali custom of wearing a memory crystal around her neck, containing images of important moments in her life. Lyra Hope had grown into a remarkable young woman. Her lavender skin had darkened slightly with age, now a rich amethyst tone. Her feathery hair reached her waist, shifting colors with her emotions, currently a peaceful blue-green as she sat across from Kelly. The Vreelar delegation arrives tomorrow, Lyra said, sipping the herbal tea that both women enjoyed. It's the first formal diplomatic mission they've ever sent to any world, Kelly nodded. The past decade had seen dramatic changes in the Vreelar's approach to other species. The encounter with the hybrid children had shaken their rigid worldview, leading to a gradual but profound shift in their ancient policies. They requested you specifically as negotiator, she told Lyra. Apparently you become something of a legend among them. Lyra smiled, a gesture that blended human warmth with the subtle luminescence of Lurali expressions. They call me pattern breaker, she said with amusement. It's meant as a compliment, though it took them some time to see it that way. A soft chime indicated another visitor. Alara entered the room. Her appearance had changed little over the years. Lurali aged differently than humans, maintaining their physical prime for centuries before a rapid decline at the end of their lives. Ambassador Nelson, High Emissary. Lyra, she greeted them formally before relaxing into the more casual demeanor she adopted in private. The matriarchs have approved the proposal for the new educational exchange. Our young will study alongside humans, and Lumari Kelly felt a surge of satisfaction. This initiative had been her pet project for years, the idea that children of all three species would learn together, forming bonds from an early age. The Vreelar will be intrigued by this development. Lyra observed. They still struggle to understand how we maintain separate cultural identities while forming a cohesive community. Kelly rose and moved to the window, gazing out at the city below. Human architecture, with its straight lines and geometric precision, stood alongside the organic flowing structures of Lurali design. Between them, newer buildings incorporated elements of both, creating something unique and beautiful. We struggled with the same questions, she reminded them. When the Lurali first arrived, many humans feared losing our identity, our culture. Yet we found that diversity strengthens rather than weakens us. Alara joined her at the window, her silver eyes reflecting the city lights. We have created something unprecedented, she said softly. 3 distinct species, living together not in competition but in harmony, each maintaining their uniqueness while creating something greater together. A message flashed on Kelly's tablet, drawing her attention. Earth Command reported unusual energy readings from the edge of the solar system. I should check on this, she said, turning back to her guests. Before she could access her terminal, the diplomatic alarm sounded, a sound she hadn't heard since the first Vreelar encounter. Emergency transmission from Vreelar Advance. Scout, the communications officer announced, patching it through. The screen activated, showing not the expected Vreelar, but a different alien species. This one with bark-like skin and multiple limbs. Attention, allied species. This is Commander Zalt of the Kryvax Empire. We have intercepted the Vreelar diplomatic vessel. Your deception is revealed. We know you plan alliance against the Empire. Prepare for cleansing. The transmission cut off abruptly. Kelly felt her blood run cold. The Kryvax were unknown to humans, but clearly hostile. Lyra and Alara exchanged worried glances. The Vreelar mentioned them in our preliminary communications. Lyra explained. They are a militaristic empire from a neighboring sector. The Vreelar have contained their expansion for millennia. Kelly activated the emergency protocols, Within moments, Admiral Reed, now gray-haired but still commanding, appeared on screen along with the Lurali Defense Coordinator and representatives from the Lumari Defense Systems. Activated. Admiral Reed reported all cities implementing shield protocols. The Kryvax vessel appears heavily armed, but our combined technology should provide adequate protection. Ilara stepped forward. The Vreelar diplomatic vessel carries their High Overseer. They would consider it a grave insult if harm came to them during approach to our system. Kelly nodded, understanding the implications. The fragile trust they had built with the Vreelar could shatter if the delegation was attacked while under their protection. We need to reach the Vreelar ship before the Kryvax do, she said. The question is how. Lyra, who had been silent in concentration, suddenly spoke. I can contact the other Lumari. We may be able to create a psychic corridor to communicate with the Vreelar. Warn them of the danger. How long will that take, Kelly? Asked. Lyra frowned. Normally days, but if all 53 of us link together, perhaps hours. It has never been attempted at this distance. Ilara touched Lyra's shoulder. It's too dangerous. The mental strain could cause permanent damage. Lyra stood tall, her posture reflecting determination. The Lumari exist because of both your species' sacrifices. We would risk much more than mental strain to protect this alliance. While the Lumari prepared for their psychic attempt, Earth and Lurali forces mobilized the most advanced vessels from both fleets launched toward the outer system, hoping to intercept the Kryvax before they reached the vulnerable Vreelar. Diplomatic ship Kelly insisted on joining the mission. Despite objections from both Reed and Ilara, she boarded the command vessel, her diplomatic status potentially useful if they managed to reach the Vreelar. First space battles had been theoretical exercises until now. Neither humans nor Lurali had engaged in actual combat with their ships. The Kryvax, with their military focus, would have the advantage of experience as their small fleet accelerated toward the outer system. Kelly stood on the bridge watching the tactical displays. Lyra had insisted on accompanying her, acting as a relay to the other Lumari, who were attempting their unprecedented psychic link 12 hours into the journey. Lyra suddenly gasped, her eyes glowing with silver light contact. She whispered, "The Vreelar, hear us." Kelly moved to her side. "What can you tell them?" "We are sharing visuals of the Kryvax vessel, its position and heading." Lyra explained, her voice strained. "The Vreelar are altering course, but the Kryvax have detected them. They pursue." Admiral Reed, who commanded the mission, personally frowned at the tactical display. "The Kryvax will intercept before we can reach them." Lyra closed her eyes again, concentrating. "The Vreelar share information," she said after a moment. "The Kryvax fear our alliance, because the Vreelar have begun to spread word of our success. Other suppressed species have begun questioning Kryvax control. This attack is meant to end the threat of our example before it spreads." Kelly understood immediately what had begun as a simple meeting of species had evolved into something revolutionary. The very idea that different species could coexist and thrive together threatened power structures built on domination sensors, indicated the Kryvax vessel had increased speed weapons. Systems activating the Vreelar diplomatic vessel was not designed for combat. "We're not going to reach them in time," Admiral Reed said grimly. Lyra suddenly straightened, her eyes flaring with light. "The other Lumari have joined completely," she announced. "Our minds are one." The Vreelar connect with us. Before Kelly could ask what that meant, alarms blared through the ship. "Massive energy surge detected from the Vreelar vessel," the tactical officer reported. "It's unlike anything in our database." On the view screen, they watched in astonishment as the Vreelar ship seemed to shimmer, becoming translucent, then vanishing completely. The Kryvax vessel halted, clearly confused by the disappearance of their target. "Where did they go?" Kelly demanded. Lyra smiled, her expression serene. "They are here." A moment later, the air on the bridge shimmered and 5 Vreelar appeared in the center of the command deck, their multiple eyes blinking in sequence. The Vreelar High Overseer stepped forward. "We thank the United Peoples for the warning. The Lumari consciousness guided us through dimensional shift, a technology we had not considered using in this manner." Admiral Reed stared in shock. "You teleported your entire ship, not teleportation." The Vreelar corrected. "Dimensional phasing. We exist slightly out of synchronization with normal space. The Kryvax cannot detect us. Kelly stepped forward as the diplomat present. Welcome to the Alliance fleet. High Overseer. We are honored by your presence and relieved by your safety. The Vrillar studied her. Their species did not show emotion in ways humans could easily interpret, but their posture seemed to convey respect. Ambassador Nelson. Your reputation is known to us. The Pattern Breaker speaks highly of your wisdom. We did not expect our diplomatic mission to begin with such excitement.